Very good evening, everyone. Okay, so we are going to start with what we were doing yesterday. I think legislation part we have completed already, right? People who were present yesterday, we have already completed the legislation. Next, we are going to move towards pollution, right? Environmental pollution, etc. I'll give you a little dump on environmental pollution, then we can start with that. See how many types of pollution that we are having. If I consider the types of pollution, so basically air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, and radioactive pollution. In these four categories, we can divide our setup, right? If I talk about the air pollution, then you can see how severe the condition is. And the major factor for the air pollution is your anthropogenic activities, such as greenhouse emissions and pollutants, from greenhouse emission and pollutants from vehicles, mining, then industries, effluents. Oh, welcome. So good to see you after long. Good, good. कैसा रहा आपको? You had a practical, right? Okay, so they are finished. So are they moving online? Delhi, that is in Delhi only, na? Your university. So they are moving online now. Have they said this? Because it has been mandated na, in the universities now. Achha, not yet. I think 2 days so it has been done. Achha, because it was advisory was also for the colleges and universities. Yes. So I thought, in fact, 2 days so they can do because it's, I think it's a government college, right? Yours. हाँ. अब कल ही इन्होंने इंट्रोड्यूस कराया, maybe they'll take some time to implement it. Okay, good to see you. Okay. So now let's start. So we were discussing next topic, which is environmental pollution. We'll discuss all of that in detail. Write down all this. Make a flow chart. Yesterday you were present na in the convention class. Okay. हाँ, I could see. लेकिन आपका शायद प्रॉब्लम हो रहा था किसी किसी दिन. Done? Okay. So first we'll talk about the air pollution, right? How the air pollution has been done and what are the reasons for it. And then we'll see the mitigation measures as well. देखिए, जब भी हम pollutants की बात करते हैं, we talk about two things. One is a point source and another one is a non-point source. Point source literally means if we know, if we can figure out, if we know from exactly where the pollutant is coming from. Pollutant is coming from or originating from. The better word is originating from. But non-point source is a source wherein we are not aware. We know that it is coming from here. We are not aware of the exact source of the environmental pollutant. I'll make you write all this, don't worry. तो पॉइंट सोर्स का मतलब क्या है, कहाँ से ओरिजिनेट हो रहा है. अगर हमें ये पता है बहुत इजीली तो दिस इज वेरी इजी फॉर अस. लेकिन कुछ एरिया में हमें नहीं पता होता फ्रॉम वेयर इट इज एक्चुअली ओरिजिनेटिंग. यू कॉल इट एज अ नॉन पॉइंट सोर्स, राइट. सो वी हैव अ पॉइंट सोर्स, नॉन पॉइंट source pollutants. We call them as pollutants. So similarly, air pollution is what? Air pollution is basically all the pollutants which are unwanted. For example, PM 2.5, PM 10. These are very important. PM 2.5 आपने देखा होगा, इसका वैल्यू एक दिन से बढ़ जाता है in November, right? It increases like anything. So all of these, SO2, NOx, all of these are unwanted pollutants which are present in the atmosphere. And when they are present in the atmosphere, it's very difficult for the people, to inhale all this. The moment they will inhale, there will be a lot of respiratory problems. For example, there is a problem in the respiratory tracts, or maybe they are dealing with some kind of bronchitis issues. So there can be many issues with respect to this. So what we did, so all the kind of a smoke, all the kind of a dust, all the kind of a gases which are not suitable for the humans to inhale, we call all of these as a air pollutants. Hence, they are creating what? Air pollution. You know, Delhi is at the top. It was earlier at the 5th rank. Overall, India was at the 5th rank. Now, India is at the 6th rank. Okay, the positioning of India, positioning of different countries with respect to their pollutants, with respect to how much air pollution they are doing. And with respect to Delhi, Delhi is always on the top, like always, right? So Delhi is what? Basically, Delhi has 2-3 problems. One is not only of vehicular emissions, another problem is stubble burning, which happens in November. Because of that, both the things mixed together, it creates the environment, it creates the whole air of the Delhi to not to breathe in by the people. It becomes very difficult to people to even adapt to the same environment in which they have been living from last 30-40 years. I don't know how many years they have been living in. Right. So WHO, what is the permissible limit of by WHO? So WHO says that if your AQI level is from up to 50, then it's fine. There is no problem. The moment it will keep on changing more than 100 to 200 or 200 to 300 or 300 to 400, it is very difficult for the people to breathe. So up to 50 is permissible. It's a permissible limit by WHO. But after that, so in Delhi, it's worst. If they are crossing 400, they are crossing 500 in some places in November and December, right? So all of these things are doing what? They are degrading the health of the human and also the productivity of the human. If you see, a lot of cases are there in November, December, where people are falling in, they are having the respiratory problems, especially the citizens who are above 60. All of them cannot. I have heard of a lot of stories where senior citizens have moved out of Delhi in particularly in those seasons, right? So what we have to do, see, running is not a solution. Going from one place to another place is not a solution. You have to fix a problem where you are residing in. Because right to have a fresh air is your fundamental right. Your right to have a clean air is a fundamental right, and it has been also stated in one of the judgment, which you call it as MC Mehta versus Union of India. There it has been clearly mentioned that you need to have the clean air, which is breathable. That is your right, and you can go and ask for it. Okay. So you can mention all these points. Start करेंगे, लिखिए. Air pollution occurs when harmful substances. Air pollution occurs when harmful substances such as smoke, dust or gases, dust or gases are released into the atmosphere. Smoke, dust, gases are released into the atmosphere, causing harm to living organisms and environment. Causing harm to living organisms and environment. Head on next. As per WHO, more than 99% of population, as per WHO, more than 99% of population live in areas where air pollution is above permissible limits given by WHO. Write down. In MC Mehta versus Union of India, 1986. In MC Mehta versus Union of India, 1986, the Supreme Court treated the right to live in pollution-free environment, as the part of fundamental right to life. It's a part of fundamental right to life under Article 21. Under Article 21 of the Constitution. Now write down sources of air pollution. Sources of air pollution. First is natural sources. What could be a natural sources? One is the anthropogenic. Now there are some natural sources also which are causing the pollution, but not much. It could be your volcanic eruptions, but they are not much. They are not significant as anthropogenic. Write down volcanic eruptions, then wildfires, dust storms. Next, natural decay of organic matter. Natural decay से क्या होगा? Methane release होता है, and methane is a harmful gas. Natural decay of organic matter. Next, write down anthropogenic sources. Anthropogenic sources such as industrial waste या industrial effluents. Next, write down agricultural practices. Next, automobile exhaust. Automobile exhaust. Next, power plants, etc. Now write down major sources. What are the major sources? First is your fossil fuel combustion. What are the major sources of pollution? So once we have decided major sources of anthropogenic pollution. Major sources of pollution through anthropogenic activities. to anthropogenic activity. अब देखिए, see, all of this combustion which has been done by the fossil fuels. So first will be combustion of fossil. First is the combustion of fossil fuels. Write down. Coal-fired power plants. Coal-fired power plants. That is, example में लिखेंगे burning sulfur-rich coal. That is, burning sulfur-rich coal in power plants is one of the largest source of pollutants. It is one of the largest source of pollutants. Write down. इसी के अंदर लिखेंगे ट्रांसपोर्टेशन. इसी का ही पार्ट है तो फॉसिल फ्यूल ही. जब ट्रांसपोर्ट कर रहे हैं तब भी आपका कोल पेट्रोल बर्न हो रहा है, राइट. एक फॉसिल फ्यूल, वो भी तो फॉसिल फ्यूल ही है ना आपका पेट्रोल. राइट डाउन ट्रांसपोर्टेशन. एमिशंस फ्रॉम ट्रक्स, शिप्स, emissions from trucks, ships and aircrafts using heavy fuel oils or sulfur-laden diesel contribute to SO2 emissions. Understand this, that contribution of fossil fuels के अंदर क्या क्या आएगा. पहला आपने क्या लिखा, कोल पावर्ड प्लांट. ठीक है, एक आपका ये एमिशन हो गया. दूसरे में आप क्या मेंशन करेंगे, transportation. Now transportation could be through any, it could be your trucks, it could be your two-wheelers, it could be your cars, anything, your aircrafts. So all of this is also responsible for that. लिखिए. And aircraft using emissions from ships, trucks and aircraft using heavy fuel oils और सल्फर लेडन डीजल. सल्फर लेडन डीजल का मतलब है वो डीजल जिसके अंदर सल्फर कंटेंट ज्यादा है. नेक्स्ट लिखेंगे ऑयल रिफाइनरीज एंड इंडस्ट्रियल बॉयलर्स. ऑयल रिफाइनरीज, थर्ड इज अंडर दिस ओनली, ऑयल रिफाइनरीज एंड industrial boilers. They are also responsible for this. ठीक है, write down. Industrial boilers और oil refineries में लिखिए combustion of high sulfur fuel increase combustion of high sulfur fuels in these facilities releases या increase significant amount of SO2. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट सोर्स लिखेंगे इंडस्ट्रियल प्रोसेसेस. सेकेंड पॉइंट डालेंगे इंडस्ट्रियल प्रोसेसेस. How the gases are being released to industrial processes such as your melting. जो भी प्लांट में मेल्टिंग हो रहा है, ये स्मेल्टिंग का काम हो रहा है, it was one of the major contributor of the pollutants. Right on metal smelting and refining. पूरा लिखेंगे. Write down like this. Metal smelting and refining. They both are contributor of, I mean this is one industry only. Write down. Operations such as copper and lead smelting operations such as metal and metal smelting, example copper, aluminium, example copper, aluminium, will lead to will lead to will lead to release of sulfur dioxide and other pollutants अब नेचुरल सोर्सेज में जब आप मेंशन करेंगे नेचुरल सोर्सेज विच इज योर वॉल्केनिक इरप्शंस, तो नेचुरल सोर्सेज में ब्रैकेट में लिखेंगे दे आर द माइनर कंट्रीब्यूटर्स, बहुत ही कम कंट्रीब्यूशन है इनका, दे आर द माइनर कंट्रीब्यूटर्स. देखिए माइनर कंट्रीब्यूटर्स, राइट डाउन volcanic activity write down under this eruptions and continuous degassing. Eruptions and continuous degassing from volcanoes release SOx या SO2. It release SO2 in the atmosphere. It release SO2 in the atmosphere. Next, biogenic emissions. Write down biogenic emissions. Now, what is this biogenic emissions? What are these biogenic emissions? देखिए, the natural decay of organic matter and forest fires. Natural decay of organic matter and forest fires. Natural decay of organic matter and forest fires contribute small amount of sulfur compound. Next, written. Okay. Now understand. See, when we're talking about all these are all the air gas pollutants, right? SO2 हो गया, your CO, carbon monoxide, or CH4, your methane, or NOx. All of these are the major contributor. They are the major pollutants, right? So if I talk about all these pollutants, I'll take the name. One is carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxides, and carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxide, and what else would be there? SO2. All of these are what? They are major pollutants. Apart from that, there are others also like PM 2.5 and PM 10. Your particulate matter 2.5 and particulate matter 10. They are also one of the major pollutants. ठीक है? Right? Then example अगर आपको add करना है तो कर दीजिए. We'll talk about all these gaseous air pollutants अभी बात ही करने वाले हैं इसके बारे में. Just want to write एक बार एक ही साथ तो आप लिख लीजिए. Done? अब लिखेंगे gaseous air pollutants क्या क्या है. We will see how they are being released and we will also look how detrimental they are for environment and humans. First, we will talk about oxides of sulfur. Oxides of sulfur, how they are released and what are the issues. Okay, write down. Oxides of sulfur. It is a colorless gas. कैसी gas है? It's a colorless gas. It's a colorless gas that is readily soluble in water, that is readily soluble in water, and it is predominantly derived from the combustion of fossil fuels, and it is predominantly derived from the combustion of fossil fuels. Write down. In 2022, in 2022, India was the largest emitter. India was the largest emitter of the India was the largest emitter of the sulfur dioxide in the world. Sulfur dioxide in the world, comma, accounting for over 20% of the accounting for over 20% of the 20% of the world's 20% of the world's anthropogenic emissions, accounting for 20% of the world's anthropogenic emissions. Followed by Turkey and Indonesia. Important data which could be added, followed by Turkey and Indonesia. So it's a 2022 data where India was topping the chart. Rest of it was followed by Turkey and Indonesia, which are also the highest emitters. Head on. Health impacts. What are the health impacts of this? Again, sulfur dioxide can create respiratory problems. Write down. Even at the low concentration, health impacts में लिखेंगे. Even at the low concentration, health impacts में लिखेंगे. Even at the low concentration, comma, SO2 can cause respiratory diseases. SO2 can cause respiratory diseases. SO2 can cause respiratory diseases. Write down. Like asthma, bronchitis, etc. What are the environmental impacts? Write down. SO2 is one of the biggest contributor. Environmental impacts में लिखेंगे. SO2 is one of the biggest contributor of the acid rain. Contributor of acid rain. Okay. It is the biggest contributor of acid rain. Write down. Which lead to soil and water acidification. Which lead to soil and water acidification, comma, harming crops, comma, forest, comma, aquatic life, and biodiversity. Write down next. SO2 is a precursor to the formation of SO2 is a precursor to the formation of fine particulate matter. Is a precursor of the formation of fine particulate matter, PM 2.5. Next लिखेंगे nitrogen dioxide. Next pollutant that we are doing is nitrogen dioxide. Write down nitrogen dioxide लिखिए. A reddish brown, comma, highly reactive gas. It's a reddish brown, comma, it's a highly reactive gas. Reddish brown, comma, highly reactive gas. With a sharp biting odor. With a sharp biting odor. Next point. It is visible as an irritant red haze. It is visible as an irritant red haze. Next. Write down. Again, the primary sources क्या होंगे इसके? Same. Fossil fuel combustion and industrial sources. Write down. Primary sources are for the NO2, fossil fuel combustion and industrial processes. Now write down the health impacts of NO2. Write down the health impacts of NO2. First लिखेंगे respiratory irritant. It's a respiratory irritant. Next point. Under this only write down. Causes airway inflammation. Causes airway inflammation, and it is linked to acute respiratory diseases, and it is linked to acute respiratory diseases. Acute मतलब बहुत ज़्यादा intense. Acute respiratory diseases, comma, particularly in children. Particularly in children. Full stop. WHO air quality guidelines. WHO air quality guidelines note that exposures to high NO2 levels, it notes that SO2, NO2 high level, WHO guidelines note that exposure to high level of NO2 levels exacerbates asthma, comma, bronchitis and other lung conditions. Other lung conditions. Next आप लिखेंगे environmental impacts. Next लिखिए environmental impacts. Again, because this is also a major contributor of acid rain, तो पहले तो आप acid rain लिख लीजिए. I'll also explain you what is acid rain. Don't worry. So write down. The first is acid rain only. Same point जो आपने SO2 में लिखा था वही NO2 में. It causes acid rain. It's one of the major contributor of acid rain. Next. What is the effect of it on vegetation? Vegetation मतलब आपका plants. जैसे NO2 level बढ़ जाता है, please see, look here. Your photosynthesis inhibition process of the plants decreases. Your leaves में दिखने लगता है वो चीज that NO2 has been increased. So your leaves will turn pale, right? And when NO2 will increase, the photosynthesis inhibition process will start. Means photosynthesis आपका बहुत slow हो जाएगा, and this will turn pale. The moment it will happen, what it is going to cause? It is going to cause yellowish color. Okay. So write down high NO2 concentration. High NO2 concentration damages plant leaves. It damages plant leaves and impair photosynthesis by injuring chloroplasts, by injuring chloroplast, 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 and disrupting crop yields and forest health. Right? अब देखिए, not only this, Acid rain का तो करता ही है. There are two types of ozone which are found. I hope that you know the two types of ozone are, one is good ozone, another one is bad ozone. Good ozone is found in stratosphere, which is forming the ozone layer and is protecting us from the ultraviolet rays. Next ozone is your bad ozone. Bad ozone is only 10% which is formed on the surface of the earth. Now, when it is formed on the surface of the earth, first of all, this bad ozone is not a primary pollutant, it's a secondary pollutant. What is a secondary pollutant? When two primary pollutants come and go under the chemical reaction, this is known as a secondary pollutant. The resultant will be secondary pollutant. So, NOx is a secondary, NOx is a primary pollutant, but it results into the formation of secondary pollutant. How? When NOx will come and contact with VOC, which is your volatile organic compounds. Volatile organic compounds. Volatile organic compounds are the compounds which are having benzene or toluene. All of these are your hydra, your hexabenzene. All of these are under a VOC. When both of these react on the surface, it leads to the formation of O3, which is your bad ozone. So this is how NOx is also contributing in the formation of bad ozone. So write down. लिखिए on ecosystem. Next heading डालेंगे on ecosystem. On ecosystem लिखिए. It acts as a precursor. It acts as a precursor for the formation of. It acts as a precursor for the formation of groundwater. Precursor for the formation of ground level ozone and acid rain. Next, on materials, what is the stop हो गया है. Next लिखिए, what is the effects of it on materials? Materials मतलब आपकी टेक्सटाइल पे क्या इफेक्ट पड़ता है, बाकी चीजों पे क्या इफेक्ट पड़ता है. राइट डाउन on materials. लिखिए टेक्सटाइल फाइबर्स. On materials write down textile fibers. It causes degradation. आपके फाइबर क्या हो जाएगा, डिग्रेड हो जाएगा. It causes degradation. Next, discoloration and weakening through chemical reactions. Next लिखेंगे, write down next. Next लिखेंगे metals. It also acts as one of the element. It also acts as, yeah, you can write, it also acts as a catalyst. It also acts as catalyst which leads to deterioration, which leads to deterioration of infrastructure such as bridges, buildings. Write down. WHO calls NO2. WHO calls NO2 as the primary urban pollutant. It's a primary urban pollutant. It's a primary urban pollutant. And precursor of PM. PM means particulate matter. It's a precursor of PM and ozone. Please revise and let me know if you have any doubt. Then we'll start with acid rain. Please go through the whole part. Yes, do you have any question to ask? Clear everything? Okay. Shall we come to the acid rain now? Take your time. Now, what are acid rains? Understand. This was also asked in a UPSC prelims question, acid rain. So basically it's a mixture of HNO3, which is a nitric acid, and a sulfuric acid. So when you talk about two components, which is HNO3 plus H2SO4, which is your nitric acid and sulfuric acid, which is your nitric acid and sulfuric acid, right? So when I talk about the nitric acid, it is like H2O plus N2O, right? So this is creating what? HNO3 is been created first, then H2SO4 is created. That means SO2. Basically, who are the one of the major contributor of this is SO2 plus NO2. That is what I want to explain. Because of NO2, HNO3 is been created, SO2, H2SO4 is been created. Right? And from where all these materials are coming from? Already we have discussed NO2 is coming from all the pollutant source that we have seen just now. And SO2 is also coming from all the pollutant source when they mix up with H2O vapors in the environment, in the atmosphere. Because when they react with the water vapor, what will happen then? It will create two compounds, nitric and sulfuric. Now, when nitric and sulfuric acid come and mix up, it will create a acid rain. And acid rain is quite harmful if the concentration of it is very high. What happens? बाहर है, अच्छा ठीक है, ठीक है. तो इसका क्या का इम्पैक्ट हो सकता है? The impact can be seen in aquatic life. It can be seen on terrestrial life. It can be seen on the overall environment ecosystem of the area. So all of this will affected together. ठीक है, स्टार्ट करिए लिखना. ऑब्वियसली पीएच वैल्यू तो कम करेगा ही बिकॉज एसिड रेन है. तो स्टार्ट करेंगे लिखना. लिखिए. When the pH of the rainwater drops, when the pH of the rainwater drops below 5.6, when the pH of the rainwater drops below, when the pH of the rainwater drops below 5.6, it is called acid rain. It is called acid rain. Full stop. When SO2, which is your sulfur dioxide, when SO2, sulfur dioxide and NOx, which is your nitrogen oxide, combined with water and oxygen in the atmosphere, comma, they form sulfuric and nitric acid. They form sulfuric and nitric acid respectively. Next point. These acids then dissolve in water droplets. These acids then dissolve in water droplets, leading to the creation of acid rain, comma, snow and fog. Write down impacts of acid rain. Now write down the impacts of acid rain. सबसे पहले किस पे लिखेंगे? Aquatic life. Write down on aquatic life. On aquatic life. लिखिए. Write down. Start writing. On aquatic life. Acidification of rivers and lakes. Acidification of rivers and lakes makes them unsuitable for species Acidification of acidification of rivers and lakes makes them unsuitable for species trouts, such as trouts and other fish, such as trouts and other fish, by disrupting reproductive patterns. By disrupting reproductive patterns, leading to population decline. Leading to population decline. Leading to population decline. Next. At pH 5, most of the fish eggs at pH 5, अगर pH एसिडिफिकेशन एकदम से गिर गया और pH 5 आ गया तो क्या होगा आपका एसिडिफिकेशन नहीं हो पाएगा. ठीक है, द लेवल ड्रॉप्स. एकदम से क्या होगा pH 5 पे एसिडिफिकेशन वैल्यू डाउन होगी, pH लेवल वैल्यू डाउन होगी एंड एट pH 5 it will impact eggs of the fishes, of the whales, etc. Right on. At pH 5, most fish eggs cannot hatch. Full stop. At lower pH levels, some adult fish die and some acidic lakes have no fish and some acidic lake have no fish, hence disrupting the marine ecosystem. Now write down, what are the impacts of it on marine environment? इसका marine environment पे क्या impact करेगा? देखिए, it is disrupting the whole ecosystem. Apart from that, what else it does? Write down. Altered pH level disturbs the species distribution. Altered pH level disturbs the altered pH level disturb the species distribution. It disturbs the species distribution. Right now, comma, shell forming organisms. शेल फॉर्मिंग, शेल कैसे फॉर्म होते हैं? मॉलस्क से या फिर आपके सर्टेन प्लैंकटन से. शेल फॉर्मिंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स such as mollusk or certain planktons, such as mollusk spelling you can see from here, and certain planktons. और कौन इन्फेक्ट होंगे फाइटोप्लैंक्टॉन्स के अलावा? कोरल्स. The corals are also shell building, right? And certain phytoplanktons. Along with it, coral reefs are also affected. Along with it, coral reefs are also affected. Next, on soils. What is the effect of acid rain on soil? Acid अगर आपका ज़्यादा हो जाएगा तो क्या होगा? All the humus which is present over here, it will degrade on a very faster level. जब भी आपका acidity pH level आपका कम हो जाता है soil के ऊपर, तो your decomposition rate starts getting faster. The moment the decomposition rate will start getting faster, and there will be rain which will happen over here, it will take away all the organic matter present on the surface. The moment it will take away all the organic matter present on the surface, what will happen next? There is no organic matter left for the production of the crops. Yes, so this is the one of the drawbacks. Write down on soils. One of the effects. Okay. On soils. Write down. Acid rains harm soil. Acid rains harm soil by removing nutrients. Acid rain harms soil by removing nutrients, comma, leaching calcium and increasing aluminium levels. and increasing aluminum levels. Next, acidification can release aluminum from soil, and in dissolved form it can harm plants and animals. And in dissolved form it can harm plants and animals. Write down. The microbes that cannot tolerate acidic environments, the microbes that cannot tolerate acidic environments failed to adapt to lowered pH of the soil. They fail to adapt to lowered feature of the soil. Lowered pH. Again, I'm repeating. Acid rain harms soil by removing nutrients, leaching calcium, and increasing the level of aluminum. Next, and in dissolved form, it can harm plants and animals. Okay? The microbes that cannot tolerate the acidic environment fail to adapt to the lowered pH of the soil. Next, on the physical infrastructure. Have you seen that lot of monuments, lot of buildings have turned to yellowish color? The idea is that the acidic rains are also discoloring the infrastructure. So write down, because it has a NO2 which is quite corrosive in nature. Write down, on physical infrastructure, acid rain corrodes and discolors materials. Acid rain corrodes and discolored. Acid rain corrodes and discolored materials such as limestone and marble. Please go through it, and next we will start the mitigation strategies. हाँ, बिल्कुल कर सकते हैं. Yes, we can definitely include it. Done. ठीक है. So write down air pollution में देखिए क्या क्या मेथड, पहले मेथड्स को समझ लीजिए. I'll make you write all this. One of the method to decrease the SO2 and NO2 pollution, NO2 pollutants, is One is your flue gas desulfurization. What is this point? What is a flue gas desulfurization? Basically, it's a procedure wherein we are adding the equipments into the plants only. Plants in sense the coal plant, thermal power plant. What we are adding an additional equipment, and this additional equipment will do what? Will treat the sulfur dioxide. For example, the sulfur dioxide which is emitted from the thermal power plant. So this is your thermal power plant, and from here, I hope you understand what it is, coal, etc. When they are getting heated up, right? Because they have to generate electricity, etc. out from their heat. So when SO2 is been released from that, this is the product, right? When SO2 is released, they are adding a equipment over here, and this equipment will do what? Will treat sulfur. Treat sulfur karega. This you call it as flue gas desulfurization. Desulfur matlab sulfur हमें हटाना है. And flue gas is what? Flue gas is a mixture of different gases. Flue का मतलब क्या होता है? What do you understand by flue? Why the word flue has been used? Because this word, this is coming out of the chimney or a duct, right? Hence the name flue. This is coming, this SO2 is coming out of a duct, from an opening, from this. So you call it as a flue gas desulfurization, right? What is the procedure? We'll try to understand. Just hold on. So first is this flue gas desulfurization became important. Why? Because with respect to the kind of the thermal power, because they are the biggest contributor of the sulfur. If we talk about all the hydrocarbons are the biggest contributor of the sulfur, because this is what coal is what? It's a kind of a carbon only, it's a fossil fuel only. And again, if we have seen in the statistics also, they are creating what? Lot of combustion, etc. It is creating. So write down flue gas desulfurization. It is a technology installed. I want to make you write in detail, but first you write just a small explanation of it. It's a technology installed in the, coal-fired power plant. It's a technology installed in the coal-fired power plant. In the coal-fired power plant to remove sulfur dioxide, to remove sulfur dioxide, emissions by 90%. To remove sulfur dioxide emissions by 90%. Written? Okay, what is the next idea that they have given for this? That one should change. Change what? They should change there is a concept called beneficiation of coal. That has also been discussed. What do you understand the beneficiation? Beneficiation का मतलब क्या होता है? What do you understand? Beneficiation मतलब आप पहले से ही कोल को ट्रीट कर लेंगे, मतलब जितनी भी उसकी impurities है उनको निकाल देंगे, and then you will burn it. This is called the beneficiated coal. Write down. Next idea is beneficiated coal. Beneficiated coal. Write down beneficiated coal. Beneficiated coal में लिखेंगे. Write down beneficiated coal. It is a coal which is treated. It is a coal. It is a kind of a technique wherein the coal is treated. It's a kind of a technique wherein the coal is treated. The coal is treated before being used in thermal power plants. Before being used in thermal power plants by reducing their by reducing their impurities, by reducing their impurities, and hence the technique is known as flue gas. Technique is known as beneficiated coal. Technique is known as beneficiated coal. The technique is known as beneficiated coal. Okay. Next, you write on about flue gas. Write more about flue gas. लिखिए. Write down more under air pollution, flue gas. Right. 77 coal-based electricity generation units. 77 coal-based electricity generation units have installed flue gas desulfurization, or write down. सबसे पहले लिखिए emissions from thermal power plant. नेक्स्ट लाइन में लिखेंगे emissions from thermal power plant. Emissions from thermal power plant लिखिए. First point, environmental emission standard. Emissions क्या के norms लिखिए. Norms. Emission norms for thermal power plant. Write down like that. One word has been missed here. Emissions norm. In thermal power plant. Emissions norms in thermal power plant. Write down. Environmental emission standards. Environmental emission standards for controlling SO2, NOx, and mercury emissions from coal-based thermal power plant. First point, it was first introduced in 2015 by MOEFCC. It was introduced in 2015 by MOEFCC, which is your Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. MOEFCC. Next, write down. Under Environmental Protection Act. Which one? 1986. Your Environmental Protection Act 1986. Right? So what they have done? In 77 coal-based electricity generation unit, they have installed what? Flue gas. They have installed what? Flue gas desulfurization. क्या install किया है इन्होंने? Again repeating it, they have installed what? Flue gas desulfurization. It's a kind of equipment which has been added in 77. It's a recent news. I mean, it's 1 year back news. So they're still continuing on the same idea that they have to install this equipment in these thermal power plants, right? And Why they have to install? Because there was a norm. There were emission norms for TPP. What was that? Environmental emission standards for controlling your NO2, SOx or mercury emissions from coal base. And this idea was first introduced in 2015 by your ministry under the Act of Environmental Protection Act. So it makes this particular thing as legal. अगर आपने desulfurization नहीं लगाया, flue gas desulfurization नहीं लगाया, that means what? You have to, they can legally charge you for it, right? They can impose stringent rules, they can impose stringent penalties on you. Why? Because it has come under Environmental Protection Act 1986 by ministry. Okay? Okay, write down more about flue gas in case you want to write. लिख लीजिए. Flue gas is a mixture of gases. Flue gas is a mixture of gases released when the fuel is burnt in the equipment. Flue gas is a mixture of gases released when the fuel is burned in the equipment, such as boilers, furnaces, furnaces, power plants, diesel engines, power plants, diesel engines. Next, industrial kilns. Industrial kilns. Okay. Next, write down. It exists through a few. It exists. Exit. कहाँ से exit होता है? Duct से और opening से. इसलिए इसका name क्या पड़ा? It exists through a duct / opening or chimney. That is why it is known as. Flue gas. Write down. Typical components of flue gases. These are nitrogen, CO2, water vapor. That's it. Okay. Now one more thing. Do you know that this flue gas can also be used? There are a lot of applications of this flue gas. Do you know that? So under the government only, it was mandated that you have to use this flue gas for lot of purposes. It has many good applications. First of all, it is used in the construction purposes. It is used in the road construction. And you have, there's a mandate for the plants. Plants means industries, that if you are more than 2 years old, then definitely you have to utilize 100% of your flue gas for your construction purpose or for your any other purpose in which it is making a good use of, right? And it is mandate only for the plants which are older than 2 to 3 years. 2 to 3 years वालों को थोड़ा relaxation है, but after if you are 2 to 3 years old as an industry, then definitely you have to use all of this. And there is an audit which happens. Audit happens that where your flue gas was used, what happened to it. All of this audit is that if there is any discrepancies which are found in the audit, definitely you will be charged for it. Okay. So write down 100% utilization of the flue gas. There's a 100% utilization of the flue gas. Write down. The plant should use the entire ash quantity in cement manufacturing, brick making, road construction, mine filling, and embankments. And embankments. And embankments. Done? Okay. Now coming to the next point, what other things we can do in this? What else we can do? और क्या क्या कर सकते हैं? Beneficiated coal का idea लिख सकते हैं हम. Just write down the beneficiated coal. You can explain it on your own. I think I have made you write this beneficiated coal. Done. What else can we do? What else can we do? How many points you have written in this? 3 points. Okay, write down. Additional measures, we write down use of low sulfur fuels. Use of low sulfur fuels. There are many types of coals, right? You have an anthracite coal, you have a bituminous coal, you have use of low sulfur fuels. Switching to fuels with lower sulfur contents, or using natural gas, that reduces the source of SOx. That is, reduces the source of SOx. Next. Selective catalytic reduction. Selective catalytic reduction. Selective लिखिए, catalytic लिखिए और reduction लिखिए. SCR. SCR. This post-combustion technology. Injects ammonia. This post-combustion technology injects ammonia or urea into the flue gas. Flue gas में क्या आप ऐड कर रहे हैं? अमोनिया, which is your NH3. This is called as selective catalytic reduction. आपने flue gas में क्या ऐड कर दिया? अमोनिया. Adding ammonia or urea into flue gas over a catalyst, converting NOx into nitrogen and water. Converting NOx into nitrogen and water. Next लिखेंगे. Implementation of advanced combustion technique. Implementation of advanced combustion technique. Write down. Power plants and industrial boilers. Power plants and industrial boilers are encouraged to adopt low NOx burners. They are encouraged to adopt low NOx burners, flue gas recirculation. Low NOx burners, flue gas recirculation, and other combustion optimization. Write down one convention, which is a international convention. Write down. Convention on long range transboundary air pollution. Write down about Convention on long range transboundary air pollution. 1979. 1979. It's a multinational accord to address transboundary air pollution. It's a multinational accord to address transboundary air pollution, comma, establishing a regional framework in Europe, comma, North America, comma, Russia, and former East Bloc nation. India is not a party to it. India is not a party to it. Next, Gothenburg Protocol to LRTAP. I mean, the short form is Long Range Transboundary Air Pollution. So there is a protocol under it with the name of Gothenburg Protocol. Gotham, Gothen, Gothenburg Protocol. Write down. It's a binding agreement. It's a binding agreement. It's a binding agreement to include emission reduction. It's a binding agreement to include emission reduction, commitments for fine particulate matter. It's a binding agreement to include emission reductions, commitments for fine particulate matter. It seeks to reduce harmful effects of air pollution, such as harmful effects of air pollution, such as acid rain, by targeting SO2, NO2, and VOX. SO2, NO2, and VOX. Tomorrow we'll do the environmental effects of particulate matter, and next we would see the water pollution, noise pollution, radioactive pollutants, all of this. VOC, volatile organic compounds, NOx and VOC. So that is different. So blue carbon is basically you are taking away the carbon from the atmosphere and sinking in the water bodies. That is called as blue carbon. Advantage is this only, you are taking away all the carbon from the environment and you are putting it in the pit or under the resources in the places where carbon has been needed more. Carbon dioxide basically, because phytoplanktons need carbon dioxide more because they have to create the photosynthesis, they have to perform the photosynthesis process. Okay. ज़्यादातर ये island और Iceland में the activities been done because technology वहाँ पे ज़्यादा है. So basically you're taking away the carbon dioxide atmosphere. The idea is also this: if in case the carbon dioxide is increased too much in the oceans, then that is also one of the problematic things. So the point is you're taking away the carbon dioxide from one place and transferring to another without even thinking that whether it will have what kind of repercussions they can have. Well, already they should have been their own risk assessment analysis. They would have done that, but maybe this is one of the best resort that we have. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, class. Okay, you are having a test this Saturday, okay, on environmental geography. Yes.